Alright guys, I have the Cub plugged in on the 2S battery. One quick thing that I forgot to mention before I start the flight. This thing does have a wingspan of 1 meter, slightly over 1 meter, and it has a length of 690 millimeters. And the weight that was listed in the manual is 210 to 270 grams. However, again, these were with the heavier electronics, with the NiCad battery and the brush motor. So I haven't actually put this on the scale yet, but if I were to estimate, I would say it's definitely under 180 grams. So this thing is light, super light for its weight. So yeah, I'm going to be hand launching it actually, because the landing gears that come with all GWS planes look like this, and they're super weak, and they also don't spin that well. This one spins that well, I just didn't build it right, but they're super weak. So I'm just going to be doing a little hand toss. That is unbalanced. Okay. All right, Cub is in the air. Now I'm flying this thing at literally like 10% throttle. Even with how small the motor I used on this thing is, it's still way overpowered for this plane, and it's lovely. Look at this thing. I have another GWS video. It's on the Pico Tiger Moth that I won from an auction here at my field, and that still had the original brush motor. But this is modern and it flies. I'm just doing gentle circles here, but I'm so in love with it. GWS planes are so docile, and they really knew how to make their planes right, because the foam they used was like super light. It was like lighter than air. Like I can hardly feel this plane flying around. And it's gonna look even more beautiful once I get a cowling on this thing. Now just a quick test of its power. When I raise my throttle, it's so overpowered, it likes to like lift up. So like I'm raising my throttle, and it just goes straight into the air. Let me try and do a little loop. Oh yeah, it's more than happy to do a loop. And because I'm assuming this thing is really efficient because of the super overpowered motor, so I'm assuming that with the way I'm flying it, I'll get way long flight times. It's so awesome. I'm using a Radiomaster ER4 4-channel receiver, just a little ELRS receiver, with my TX16S, and of course with the way we're flying, no problems with range. Yeah, I think GWS, honestly, I think they made the coolest airplanes like in the industry. I mean, they had a really wide variety of airplanes. I mean, they had like stuff from like this Cub all the way to like a C-130 was awesome, which actually the C-130 is at my local hobby shop. So I know that might be a future video, but I mean, I literally only have one hand on my controller. I just have my throttle at like less than 50%. I think maybe like 30%, and I am coasting. It flies so straight, so true. Yeah. GWS is definitely one of my favorite companies that went out of business. Their airplanes were just so beautiful. I mean, they also had I could keep like going on and on about GWS. They also had a B-2 bomber, which is crazy. I think they made the B-2 before like any other company could produce a foam B-2 bomber. Yeah, GWS is way ahead of its time. I wish like a company now could produce like the things they make. I haven't seen like planes they made in this size out of like any other company. Like no one makes a C-130 that's like small, or a B-2 that's small. I'm saying small as in like around the 1 meter mark or less than 1 meter. And no one produces planes this light anymore. Like this plane is literally so light. For this size, so light. Just a really lovely airplane. And GWS planes are normally like cartoonish in style. I mean, this one's pretty cartoony. Especially with that landing gear. And also, you're probably not going to be flying this thing in any wind. I mean, there is a slight breeze, like you barely feel it, but when it does gust up, I can feel it try and fly away. So it's kind of like a kite. But not really a kite, because you need wind to fly a kite. It's kind of like a paper plane. Yeah, like a paper plane. No wind. I'm gonna do one more loop and then go in for a landing. I'll land it with the landing gear. I won't try and catch this thing. The loops are so beautiful. Here, let me do one closer. It does a loop so straight. Whew. I have a lot of control authority too. This is awesome. All right, one of my wheels doesn't spin, so we'll see how this landing goes. Oh. Alright, so that was my maiden flight on the GWS Cub, and it's such a lovely plane. I mean, this thing is so old, but it still flies great. I think this is one of the coolest park flyers I have, and it flies absolutely amazing. It's so straight. With the power system that I put on this thing could go up forever, because it's so light, but this motor is so powerful. So I could do loops for days. Of course, it's only a 3-channel plane, so I won't be doing any crazy flying, but this thing is just so fun to fly. It's so awesome. Now, again, like I said in the flight, GWS is like a legendary company. They made such cool airplanes, and this is definitely not an exception. This is awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you see one of these anywhere, definitely go ahead and get one. I think there's one local to me that's only $40, same plane in a kit. So I might have to pick that one up too, because it's so awesome. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to John's RC. And if you're new to this channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye guys, I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, John here, and welcome back to John's RC. And today I have a little bit of a relic for you. This is the GWS J3F Cub. And this is quite an old model, but it's really cool. Obviously this isn't produced anymore. GWS went out of business a long time ago. However, at my flying field club, they hold monthly meetings, and occasionally at those meetings, the raffles they hold have some really nice goodies, and this was one of them. This came like pristine in the box. GWS planes always come in kits, so that means everything that you see here, this was once white and it was completely disassembled. So I'm gonna quickly go over the build for you. I also have pictures that I'll list up on the video to go along with it. So like I said, this came like completely disassembled. If you look here, the fuselage came in 2 pieces, and what you had to do was carve a bunch of foam out of the fuselage, the inside of the fuselage first, to fit things for the electronics and fit things for the battery and the servos to get it all seated. But you had to carve out a bunch of foam, like you see this here. This was like all over the place, and we had to cut it out. And then once I was able to get the fuselage, everything's glued together, there's no screws or anything. You glue the two fuse pieces together, and then you move on to the horizontal and vertical stabilizer. And these were once hinged, however these were hinged like 20 years ago. So when I got it out of the box and I moved the hinge, it just cracked. So I had to get a little strip of blender tape on both sides and just hinge it on my own. And I didn't really do a good job because one side is larger than the other side, but oh well. And same thing for my vertical stabilizer. This was the hinge is cracked. The way the vertical stabilizer is held together is by the two fuse pieces, and you kind of just squeeze the fuselage onto the vertical stabilizer, and I just put on glue. I used foam tack for this entire build. Now for the wing, the way they wanted you to put it together was quite strange, because as you hear, this looks kind of like a monstrosity, but they wanted you to hold the wing together purely by one double-sided sticky tape. And I tried to do it, but it would not want to hold on. So what I did was I was able to, they give you these two pieces of backing paper. You can kind of see the outline here, but kind of went away with the tape, with the paint. And that was supposed to get the dihedral in the correct position. But I just used foam tack to get it like all secure. And then I use packaging tape to run over here. But my packaging tape was kind of ineffective. See, the point of the tape was, one, to strengthen the wing, but two, to protect the wing from these rubber bands, because it's held on by bands, and with that it can damage the wing if there's too much tension. However, I forgot to put a packing tape here, so now my wing is just completely destroyed, but it still holds on, so it's fine. They give you this like kind of plastic tree that's similar to like model kits, like the plastic model kits, and they give you all of these little pieces, like you can see here for the strut, and then like the control horns here. They all came like together in a tree, and you have to just cut it out with pliers. And I first had to glue on these things. These were for the wing. They're out of foam, and they're supposed to hold on the strut here. And this is kind of like moved outwards, but I promise you it's secure. And then these struts are kind of just clipped on together. You can take them off with a little bit of pressure. And same thing on this side. Now for my control rods, what I had to do, they wanted you to have the control rods push out of the bottom of the back of the fuselage, but I thought it looked silly and it was kind of inconvenient. So what I did was what was seen on like UMX models, and I just cut out a little bit of the foam here, and I was able to move it out. So you can see here it moves out perfectly, and I think it's a lot more clean. Now for the electronics, I'm running 6-gram servos that I stole out of an E-flite plane. It came out of an E-flite L4 Cub, which is roughly the same size, so it worked perfectly. So it's only the 3 channels. So I have 2 servos for the rudder and the elevator. And for my power system, I'm running a Crack Series Pro 1800 kV brushless outrunner motor. This was actually on my Crack-Yak plate, but I don't fly that one anymore. It's kind of for spare parts. So I took the motor. For the prop, I had to use a GWS prop, which also coincidentally came out of my club meeting raffle. And yeah, so this is just held on by an O-ring, and you can see it's kind of flexible, but it's super durable. And for my ESC, I'm using this 15 amp Mantis ESC that was also out of my Cub. And on the bottom here, I'm using a Volta 2-cell 600 mAh battery pack. But I forgot to mention, this plane was originally meant for a brush power system, and I kid you not, the motor was literally the size of this like motor mount. So with that, because it was supposed to be for like a brush motor and like a NiCad battery, it's supposed to be like super nose heavy. However, with these modern electronics, it's super light. So I had to put this little bit of lead weight. I think this is like, let's see, it says like, I don't know how, it's not that heavy, but it was able to get the CG correct. And this is also pretty important, I forgot to mention. This motor mount is 3D printed by my friend Joe. Like I said, because this was meant for brushed, and it came with a brushed motor, but I just didn't want to use it because it's brushed. So I used a brushless motor. However, it's supposed to come with a cowling, but due to the size of this motor, it's so small compared to the brush one, it would absolutely not clear the cowling. So my friend Joe actually printed out this motor for it to be able to clear the cowling. However, the cowling did not clear anyway, so now I just have this thing, but it still looks really nice. So now our plan is to just print out a cowling, just make Joe do things for me now. So yeah, so everything is a lot more modern servos, modern battery, we're not using NiCad here, and modern motor. So yeah, let's go and fly it.